Hello lovely people, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan astrology report. This is a report for the Thursday the 16th of November 2023, and we're looking at the 13-day Wavespell process that will follow that date. So every 13 days we enter a 13-day process with one of the 20 archetypes from the Galactic Mayan or Dreamspell astrological calendar. And the wave spells are powerful ways to journey human evolution. So we're just on the back of a really intense time, which I know, like looking around me and from my own experience, I think we've all been saying that it's been intense for a long time, because it really has. And I think, this is a part of what it means to be like humanity that's becoming conscious of itself. Not so long ago, it wasn't really a thing to be reviewing and integrating the shadow. It's quite a new concept, it's a new idea. Things were just unconscious and they stayed unconscious for a long time. But like in the past 13 days, we were journeying with the wizard. If you've not watched the Wavespell report, it might be interesting to watch the previous one, because that archetype wasn't just governing that 13 days, it was governing the entire year in our planetary cycle of time, and it's governing the 13-year cycle of time that began in 2019. And the archetype of that process is the wizard, which is all about alchemy. And human alchemy is about the transformation of the subconscious murk. And what's happening now is that it's all coming up. Like all of the pain bodies coming up, all of the shadows are coming up, all of the wonk is apparent, it's here with us. And it's really, it's a lot to be aware, to choose to be aware, to choose to try to be aware, to choose to attempt to navigate our way through the maze of smoke and mirrors. And I don't even mean that on like a global stage way, I mean like inside of ourselves, inside of our relationships. It's like, it's a lot and it's exhausting, and we're kind of going through all of that at the same time, as because we're in this overtone 5th year of the process, we're also in this like birthing moment where we're growing things, where we're actualizing things. And the big thing that I'm witnessing at the moment is just how stretched everybody is. This modern world that we've created and the way that we exist, it's like, it's not taken anything off the plate. In some ways it's streamlined things, but that streamlining has been an exchange for so many additional tasks and so many additional things to pull us out of the moment. I just realised I've still got my list on my hand. And this is, this is part of the way that I cope with the world. It's like I have to write everything down. I have to externalise the things that I need, because I just can't hold. I can hold all of the Mayan, the Mayan magic. But I'm really noticing, for myself, I've now like re-entered this experience of time, and I'm actually in the process of creating a resource to support us to bridge and do and exist within this strange reality that we're existing in. But there's also loads of really other wonderful things that are birthing at the moment. So TOTOFUTURES, if you don't know, is a combination, a collaboration of between myself and Taco. Taco is an amazing man. He's a wizard, and he's got a lot of real deep wisdom and phenomenal transformational skills, but he's also a heart being, and we are both heart beings. So our latest thing that's come forward on the back of the Cosmic Quest, which is this year-long journey that we're facilitating, which is beautiful, is that we're now offering a coaching program, and we're doing it together. So I've done this once before with a sister of mine, we like teamed up, and there's something really special about being coached in the same container by two people. Now the beautiful thing with Taco and I obviously is that we're a man and a woman, so what we're bringing in that is really we come at the holding from such different places, but through the combination it creates this full spectrum opportunity for transformation. So with me, I'm offering, you know, a really in-depth human design and galactic mind astrology reading, and then Taco offers this like incredible life mapping thing where you go through every area of your life and like check in with where you are, and then we overlay the two. So it's like, okay, so this is where you are due to your astrology, this is where you could be, and then the coaching process is about getting from there to there. So here's where you are, here's where you could be, what needs to shift? So there's two approaches to the shift. With me, you'll be doing EFT and shadow work, and that's like clearing the way, that's like doing the rewiring, and honestly it is profoundly powerful to rewire the inner realms, like in reference to what I was just saying about shadow work and inner transformation, you know, like bringing these things to consciousness, bringing the old stories, bringing the old patterns, bringing the fears, bringing it to the surface so that it can be burnt off. And then with Taco, what he brings are these like inner quest ceremonies that are loosely based, well, they're not based around anything, but within his satchel of amazingness, there are threads from internal family systems and working with specific younger parts. There's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of deep old school ceremony, there's a lot of connection to nature. So between us, you know, we kind of bat and ball the sessions, and then there's an integration session at the end. So yeah, we would really love to hold you, and at the moment we're offering it for an introductory rate, so between 11:11 and 12:12 it's 777, and then that number's going to increase after that. But yeah, I'll put the Calendly link below, so if you want to have a chat with us about it, and we can see if we match up. But we would really love to, we feel really connected to bringing this, and you know, it's part of what we do for one another. So then bringing that into, yeah, container to share as service feels next level. And that kind of, you know, it segues quite nicely into the Wavespell that we are starting, that we're moving into on the 15th, which is with the archetype of the blue hand. And the blue hand is all about emotional evolution. So it's a blue sign, so it's a transformer. And the blue hand is this like really feminine energy that takes us deeper and deeper into like the gateway of what it is to be a human. Because to be, you know, we identify this being human thing with mind, but what if we were to give equal weight in identification to the being human thing as being emotional beings? And when we not only work through the mind but also work through the emotions, when we allow ourselves to process through the body, through the emotional body, through the physical body, which is what, you know, this emotional body journey is what the blue hand's about, we really then create shifts from an embodied place. So there are a few threads to the blue hand, as there are always a few threads to all the archetypes. And you know, the blue hand is associated with the archetype of the deer, which I always find really, yeah, lovely. And one of the words that is kind of attached to it is beauty. And for me, the way that I feel this, it's about vulnerability. You know, the most beautiful thing is vulnerability. The most heart-opening thing is vulnerability. And the deer has got this innate, beautiful vulnerability about it. It's this majestic, beautiful being that's incredibly vulnerable. You know, it's been hunted for eons, and it's so, you know, scatty as a result, because it's like it's had to be completely attuned to its environment in order to, and is having to be totally attuned to its environment in order to survive. But there's a beauty that comes with that. And another piece of the blue hand is this sort of creative, you know, emotional creativity. And I think, you know, we've been taught through this shaming of the feminine, shaming of that energetic, we've shamed the emotions too. And, you know, one of the things that I can see within the field of children right now, on the like radical edge of parenting and education, the thing that's coming in strong is this, and I guess it links into the mental health crisis as well, but there's this real like, emotions are cool. Emotions are energy, and the energy just needs to move. But what we're dealing with now as adult humans is a backlog of unfelt emotion. And when the emotion isn't felt, then yeah, it gets stuck in the body, it gets stuck, and the stories build around it, and it's this frozen energy that hasn't had the opportunity to move. And I remember a few years ago when I was having some really amazing psychotherapy in the city that I'm from, that I was living in at the time. In the centre of the city, they've got these like fountains that just like go off, and the water like, and then it crashes, and then it crashes. And I was just like in a real deep introspection moment watching these fountains, and it's like, that's what it is. So like, the aim of the game, I think, sometimes is distorted to be no emotion, but that's not the reality. And I do feel, you know, as somebody that's mainly been in relationship with people that identify as men, I feel that there is a more emotional component to people that identify as women. I don't know if it's a womb related thing, I don't know if it's a social conditioning kind of thing. I do know that everyone that I'm aware of with a womb finds it easier to cry in the days before they bleed. So there is this, whether it's, you know, socially constructed or otherwise, I would say it's otherwise, but who knows, there is a tendency for feminine beings to express emotion more easily. But natural, connected human is not free of emotion. It's that the emotion arises and it passes. So we don't go, fuck, I can't believe that this is happening because I'm feeling it. We just feel it. You know, we feel the grief, we feel the joy, we feel the anger. We allow ourselves to feel it. And again, like just witnessing these children now. Last week at Esteemed Creatives, the school that I've started, the young people led an experience where they created a sensory den for when emotions get big. So they've got this innate understanding that, yeah, emotions just come up and then they pass. But what we're living now is an experience of suppression of emotion. So whether it was that we didn't have healthy attachment and couldn't express the emotions as children, and that meant that the energy just didn't know how to move, or whether it was dissociation through putting something in because we can't cope with the level of feeling, or however it's manifested, we've got a backlog of suppressed emotion. And particularly like the land that I'm from, Albion, UK, the culture has been very emotionally suppressive here for a long time. And this means that it's a great time for us to emotionally evolve. This means that it's a great opportunity for us to really use this emotional experience to be like a supercharge to unlocking what it is to be human. And, you know, this idea of manifesting, the first idea was like, you know, you just need to stick the affirmations on, and then it's like, oh, you need to believe the affirmations. And then it was like, oh, it's about how you feel. It's the emotion that's behind it. So if your emotions are going like, but you putting this thought in of like, yep, it's not going to work. And equally, you know, our emotions can be these intuitive markers too. So our journey with the blue hand energy is all about us dropping deeper into our emotional realms and learning how to not prevent ourselves from feeling, learning how to not dissociate, learning how to let the feelings crush us. Because in those moments of despair and grief and aloneness, because usually we only get to the bottom of the barrel when we're on our own, then we find the gateway. And it's not a gateway that we're like, oh, it's a gate and I need to open it and there's an action that I need to do around it and there's a doing. It's not that. It's literally from the place of open, something else flows out. But whilst we've had to keep everything in, it's meant that the essence of who we are hasn't been able to flow either. So if we imagine the emotion as this like sacred waters that carries us through life, carries our essence into the world, it's a carrier. If that's not been allowed to move, nothing else has been allowed to move. It's like the water's frozen and it's stagnant. So over the next 13 days, the invitation is to allow yourself to soften, allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to, because I think sometimes it's like we go into these histories and, you know, I love all of the different therapies and stuff that have been birthed and they're incredibly supportive. But I think sometimes it can create so much of a cognitive idea around what we should do when we're feeling, that it takes away from like maybe we just need to feel it. And like I know for me, I've got a lot of Pisces in my chart. I'm an emotional projector with mainly open centers. I've got like 2 defined centers. Sensation, like emotion, is strong sensation in my body. Maybe it's the same for everybody, but it's not just a like, oh, I feel sad. It's a like, oh my god, it feels like my cells are being pulled away from one another when I'm in grief. It's like, you know, when we're feeling these things, it's not comfortable. And for a long time, yeah, like my default was dissociation, was like escape from the body, escape from the emotion, escape from the feeling. But through the descending into the emotions, we also get to descend into the body, and the body is the ultimate vehicle for this lifetime. And it's the ultimate vehicle to connect in with Gaia. It's the ultimate vehicle to connect in with truth. It's the ultimate vehicle. There's a reason that essence, human essence, consciousness essence, manifests in a way that it does inside these vehicles that have got this innate wisdom and all of these different things that they do without conscious awareness. Like conscious awareness is not the be all and end all, or conscious intention. So allowing ourselves to feel allows ourselves to drop into the body, and through the body we then access synchronicity, then we access the divine tapestry. And you know, there's so much available in this realm that we haven't tapped into yet. There's so much available in our bodies that we haven't tapped into yet, and there's so much updating within our collective reality that is available to us if we allow ourselves to clean what came before. And sometimes, you know, that cleaning is simply a softening, a feeling, a grieving. So whatever happens during this Wavespell, my primary invitation to you would be to just let yourself feel it before you go into the action of the doing. Try and just stay with the feelings for a bit. There may be inspired action that comes from that, but I think sometimes when we feel, we go straight into the action. But actually what the invitation is to pause, to feel, to open, even before we bring anybody else in. I know that it's not very easy to do that. Try to go into the earth, try to go into Gaia, into the body, and know that, you know, your pain is sacred, your feelings are sacred. It's all really beautiful. And if you can create some kind of art from the feeling, that's another really wonderful way to emotionally alchemize. So yeah, if you do want to, if you felt a little spark of about this adventure, this transformation container of love, of heart that Taco and I are bringing forward, then do get in touch with us, because like I say, this 777 offer is going to run out on the 21st of December. But we really, yeah, feels good. It feels really good. And collaboration is such a powerful thing when done right, and we do it right. So I'm sending you so much love, darling ones, from my almost bleeding cave, from my tender heart and big emotions to yours.